Tre Tucker is going to be the Raiders' secret weapon on offense this season. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell all of y'all right now that number 11 might not make the biggest impact in terms of stats on the field, but when he's going to be on the field, he's going to create absolute chaos for the defensive coordinator. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm a big believer where there's smoke, there's fire. And usually I say that around rumors, but the amount of smoke from Antonio Pierce, the coaching staff, other players around Tre Tucker has been just climbing, and I'm starting to really, truly think that the Raiders have big plans for Tucker, but again, it might not add up in the total stat sheet. Now, if you love today's show, if you're watching this live, greatly appreciate it. We go live every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday here on the Raiders Report. If you don't have time because you're a busy person and it's June, it's all good. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to give you guys free videos around news, breaking news, analysis. We do it all here on the show. Hit that subscribe button, and if you don't like what you see after a week, unsubscribe. You got nothing to lose. So coming up here, I'm going to tell you why Tre Tucker is going to be the Raiders' secret weapon on the offensive side of the football. And part of being the secret weapon is, you got to be like the name that not a lot of people know too much about, but like somebody that when he's on the field, he's going to strike fear in the eyes of that defensive coordinator. The first reason coming up here is Tucker is a different dude. And if you don't know what I'm saying here by Tucker is a different dude, then you probably didn't hear what Antonio Pierce had to say on, Wednesday? It would have been June 11th or June 12th. June 12th is when it was. When the Raiders canceled practice, Antonio Pierce said this: Tre Tucker is a different dude. He looks different, acts different, runs different, catches the ball different. Don't look at the size. Don't mention that. Watch him play. He's the biggest guy out there. He had a hell of an offseason, came back right after the offseason program, the Super Bowl, and got in here and started working and was here every day. To me, if Antonio Pierce is this fired up about Tre Tucker, then guess what? I'm going to be a sucker for it too, because Pierce wants somebody that's going to go out there and run through a mother effing wall, not only for himself, run through a mother effing wall for Antonio Pierce, run through a mother effing wall for his teammates, and that's what Tre Tucker has been doing. He's been going out there, he's been putting in the work, very tough player, and he's going to get used a ton this upcoming season. Let's go to the next reason here why I think Tucker is going to be the Raiders' secret weapon. He put in some extra work this offseason, and this is another one of those things that it might not show up now, but I'm so confident that if you haven't already bet the over on 6.5 wins for the Raiders, you're literally just not taking advantage of this, because there's not many NFL teams out there that show up the day after the Super Bowl. There's not many teams that have a player like Max Crosby that shows up every single day to the facility. There's not many teams out there that have 100% participation at mandatory minicamp. Why? Everybody's buying into what Antonio Pierce is selling, and you need leaders at all standpoints. Guys that wear the C, but then also players like Tre Tucker getting ready to enter their second year, because that's how you create a foundation. Rome wasn't built in a day, but you need people like Tucker doing what they're doing in order to build Rome. So Aiden O'Connell, this is what he had to say on Tre Tucker earlier this offseason. I have thrown with Tre a bunch. It sucks we can't use the ball at the facility. That's probably the worst part of what we got to go to the park. But there's a park right by my house, and I threw with Tre about 3 times a week. So this offseason, and Aiden O'Connell, he said that on Max Crosby's podcast. So you're talking about somebody who's already in the offseason working on what he needs to work on with Aiden. So not only are you helping Aiden, you're helping Tucker. And maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into this, but there is a part of me that wonders if O'Connell is the quarterback this upcoming season, if he wins that battle over Gardner Minshew, could that extra time of those guys being together in the offseason, I'm talking, March, April, May, June, those type of months, is that extra work really going to help him go from being a average player to a above average player? Because I know this, if I got that rapport with somebody and I'm putting in that time and effort, if I get into a bad situation, if I'm Aiden, yeah, you're going to look for Devontae. Yeah, you're going to look for Jacoby. But you know what? That nice little safety blanket there, and Tre Tucker doesn't sound so bad. So let's play a game here, because this is what this show is all about. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. How many receiving yards will Tre Tucker have this upcoming season? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. For those of you that are watching this live show right now, I put the over-under at 500.5 receiving yards. And based off of what most of the people are saying, it says 81 for the more. The only reason why I am going to say less than 500.5 receiving yards is because this team has way too many options on the offensive side of the football. And I do think Tucker's going to be good. And I'm making the show, I'm calling him my secret weapon, and people are going to be like, but Mitch, you're not going to say that you're saying he has under 500 receiving yards. Yes, because to me it's a football, it's a team sport, right? And I am confident that when Tucker's out there on the field, the Raiders are going to pick up more chunks of yards. His speed, it's going to stretch the field out. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of the quarterback. It's going to take pressure off of the young running back. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of a lot of different moving parts. Tre Tucker's going to be a hell of a player, but he will have less than 500 receiving yards this upcoming season. If anybody out there is looking for one hell of a deal, I got deals on all sorts of Raiders gear. And when I say this, I'm talking hundreds of different types of memorabilia. Like this t-shirt right here, I think you can get right now for $20 off. This Raiders hat t-shirt combo, I want to say you can get for like $20 off. That first double t-shirt that I was showing, this is, I believe, originally $60. You can get it for $35 right now. So all you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Raiders sale. You can also go to Raiders sale if you want to type in 2 S's. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments. Down in the description, there is jerseys on there. I think I saw if anybody's like a big and tall guy, which I've seen some Raider fans. A lot of big and tall Raider fans. There's a Bo Jackson jersey that's on sale. There's a really sick Charles Woodson jersey. You guys remember like the jersey I used to have that's like split down the middle? I used to call it my lucky jersey. They have one of those for Charles Woodson. There's a whole bunch of women's clothing. There's I saw like 3 different like baby apparel things that you could get. Bottom line is, if you need some Raiders gear that is on sale, it's only on sale. Chatsports.com/Raiders sale. Let's go to the next reason here why I think Tre Tucker is going to be the Raiders' secret weapon. He finished 2023 strong. I'm a sucker. I say it all the time. When I see a player get better and better and better, that tells me that they're learning. That tells me that they're coachable. That also tells me that one guy had Josh McDaniels, and now you got Antonio Pierce. Well, now I'm looking into the offseason, and, you know, like we've seen players, mainly on the defensive side of the football for our franchise over the past few seasons, take that step forward, right? Javon Merrigan in year 3 took that step forward. Malcolm Kuntz last season took that step forward. And I think with an extra offseason of not having Josh McDaniels and having a good coaching staff like we have in Antonio Pierce, you're going to see him take that step forward. But he already started to do it a little bit last season. In the first 13 games with the Silver and Black, he saw 19 targets, had 8 catches, 161 yards, and, averaged 20.1 yards per catch. Here's the thing, though. He did have some drop problems, which kind of took him off the field. And I said, if we can figure out how to catch the football, he's going to get more playing time. The last 4 games of the season, 15 targets, 11 grabs, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also, one of the players that's really been taking notice of how much work Tre Tucker's been putting in this offseason and how much better he's already gotten is Jakobi Meyers. And if you've ever heard Jakobi Meyers talk, there is no bullshit that comes out of this guy's mouth. It is 100% just straight spitting facts, because not that he doesn't care, but he's so laid back that he is going to tell you exactly what's on his mind. And Jakobi had this to say about Tucker. My boy Tre, he's catching the ball better. He's always been fast. He might be a little bit slower. Don't tell him I said that. He's really playing good football right now. I'm proud of him. Just the person he is off the field. He shows up every day, and he's doing his work. And, he's going to be able to put up some good numbers. But when you think about the target share, right? Like, Devontae is going to be target 1. Let's just say then after that, it's some mixture of Jakobi Meyers, Brock Bowers. I do think Michael Mayer, because of the 12 personnel, gets more targets than somebody like Tre Tucker. He's going to have to battle it out with, Michael Gallup a little bit more. Dylan Laubie's going to get his. Zamir White's going to get his. The Raiders have a lot of mouths to feed on the offensive side of the football. And just because they have a lot of mouths to feed, what's going to make Tre Tucker fun is how much he's going to open things up for everybody else. Think of Tre Tucker as a point guard. He might not have a lot of points, but you know what? If Devontae catches a 50-yard ball down the field and Tucker's on his side, it's because somebody probably had to respect Tucker's speed, and he's going to get an assist on that touchdown. Let's go to the next one. He fits exactly what Antonio Pierce wants on and off the field. If you're trying to build a football team, if you're trying to build a franchise, and if you're trying to get the Raiders back to the way that they were in 83, and 80, and 77, Super Bowl winning caliber teams, you want to be able to fit somebody that tells exactly what you're coaching on the field and off the field. And Pierce said this offseason that he wants to see more pre-snap motion. Quite frankly, I can't think of a better player on the Raiders right now that could fit a better role for pre-snap motion. And maybe that's Tre Tucker's role early on in the season, where you got Devontae, you got Brock Bowers, you got Jacoby Myers. If you're telling me right now Tre Tucker comes sprinting across that line of scrimmage, if you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, I got to account for that. Then that helps your quarterback, Gardner, Aiden O'Connell, understand, all right, maybe are we in zone? Are we in man? You can read that play a little easier. You can diagnose the play, and then bang, you're picking up some yardage. That's how Tre Tucker is going to be used. You could also use him on a jet sweep. You could use him on a deep pass down the field. His toughness, his mentality, it's what Antonio Pierce is trying to preach to so many of these young guys. And I think when you have young players that are already doing those things, it makes it a lot easier for that next young group to be able to come in and go, okay, I know what it means to be a Raider. I know exactly what I have to do. I know what is expected of me from top to bottom. Like, if you showed up to job and the person that was helping you get trained for your new job was like, doesn't really matter, man. You can do whatever you want here. You're going to have that exact same mindset. If you're a young rookie player, and right now the Raiders, they got 17 UDFAs, you got 8 rookies, 25 young guys looking up to some of these players. If I see a young second-year player in Tre Tucker, and he's doing everything that is asked of him on and off the field, that's what I'm going to start doing. That's what the Raider way needs to be. That's what the mentality of this football team needs to be. So how about this? Let's play a game here. Get down in the comments section with me and give me one word to describe Tre Tucker and his impact on the Raiders. One word. It can only be one word. What's the one word that comes to your mind for the Raiders and how Tre Tucker is going to impact this team? Because for me personally, my word is the word that I use a lot, and I mainly use it when I talk about offensive line, but I'm going to say it here because Tre Tucker's versatility is what's making him the secret weapon of the Raiders. They can use him on punt return. They can use him in the kick return game. They can use him as a receiver. They can line him out, in my opinion. You can line him out wide. You can line him in the slot. You can line him where he runs a jet sweep. He takes the ball. At any moment that he touches the football, he can hit a home run. He can take it to the house. He can also be a good player that gets you a few stolen bases where he's going to open up a few other things for other people. Like what Tre Tucker is going to be able to do and open up, it is all part of that versatility. And, like if the Raiders want to add somebody else into the special teams mix, why can't it be Tucker? Tucker's a player that had, over his career at Cincinnati, close to 1,600 total yards as a kick returner, 67 returns. He did it mainly as a freshman, and the more and more he got involved on offense, that role started to dwindle a little bit. But I do think one of the reasons why Telesco did not bring a guy that he had a good relationship with in DeAndre Carter is because he has so much confidence in Tre Tucker, so much confidence in Dylan Laube, so much confidence in Amir Abdullah. And then the final reason here is his versatility on offense and special teams, which is kind of why I'm going there with that one-word reaction. The 67 returns, the 24.9 average, the 2 touchdowns. With these new kickoff return rules, I can't wait to see what Tom McMahon, Raiders special teams coach, decides to do, because Tucker's going to be eye candy. He's going to be a player that the Raiders are going to try to use as a decoy. And, sometimes your secret weapon can be a decoy. And when you look at everything that he's going to be able to bring to this team, he's going to do a lot more. Like, for example, if Tre Tucker's in the game, you're going to have to take your attention, and you're going to have to give him that attention because he can take the top off of a defense. And if Tucker's in the game, well, the thing that killed the Raiders last season was they didn't have a quarterback that could throw the football further than 20 yards, right? Teams were stacking the box, and they were killing Josh Jacobs, and they were killing our offensive line because teams were putting 8, 9 guys in the box, and they're saying, hey, try to beat us deep. Well, Devontae Adams, even though he's a phenomenal receiver, isn't a speedy guy. Jacoby Myers, very good wide receiver too, not a speedy guy. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, both very good players, but again, not somebody that's going to stretch the field. The field stretcher that the Raiders have, realistically, is Tre Tucker and Jalen Guyton. I'm going to bet my money on Tucker's going to get more opportunities. So, everything that I said, I believe that Tre Tucker is going to be the Raiders' secret weapon because he's going to do things that not a lot of other people are going to be able to do because of his agility, because of his quickness. And he might not put up these huge numbers, but chaos. Chaos leads to points. And when Tucker's out there on the field, he's going to create chaos. AP's fired up about him. And if AP's fired up about him, that means more opportunities, no doubt about it. Then I also think it's because of that ability to beat you anywhere and the ability to just do a lot of different things. Luke Getsy and that 12 personnel, they're going to want to run a lot of different systems. They're going to want to try to put a lot of different things out there and confuse the hell out of you. The number one most confusing player on this Raiders offense, when he's out there, if they use him correctly, and they're already calling him like Little Tyreek, or they have a nickname like that for him, you can't call somebody Little Tyreek if you don't plan on actually using them as a Swiss Army knife, as a secret weapon, as something. So all I'm saying is this, with 12 personnel, with Tre Tucker, he's going to create a lot of chaos for defensive coordinators, and that's why he is the secret weapon for this Raiders offense.